Hi, Mim.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
Um, I am all right. I'm here with a little bit of a gin and something. Oh, it's
Oh,
finishing, to be honest.
what's the something? Tonic? No?
Well, you know what? This is gonna sound so
She doesn't
disgusting.
like tonic.
No, I do, I do. I don't mind it.
Okay.
We do drink tonic. This is gonna sound really disgusting, but I want to know if our listeners have ever done this. So last night, Mr. Big made me a drink, but it was quite strong. And it was like full to the brim. It was like gin and something. And I never finished it. I had like 2 sips and I left it on the side. And then today I was just like, that's too much good alcohol to go to waste.
Yeah. Okay. I thought you were going to say you were drinking gin and water, and then I was going to be really concerned.
No.
He made you a cocktail. Fantastic.
Yeah. So I literally today, I just like split out into 2 cups, put some ice in it, added more juice to it, and I'm drinking it now.
Fantastic. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much dust fell into this drink over the night, but it's gone.
If we're surviving COVID, we we can test our boundaries.
Yeah, exactly. Survival of the strongest. That's what I say.
Yes. Yeah.
What have you been up to?
I've had a very nephew-filled weekend, which has been lovely. Felt quite busy. I'm currently house sitting and dog sitting, which makes me happy. And I've currently got like an amazing view, and I've decided I need to buy this house when this couple just no longer does not want to live here any longer.
They've got the very sought after wall paneling I can see behind you.
Very trendy, very chic. And they have newly done up this bedroom. It wasn't like this last year. I house sit probably every summer for them. But yeah, I'm all right. I want a weekend to be longer, but don't we all?
Yep.
So
yeah.
We're still petitioning for that 4-day week, and I hope you guys are too.
Contact your local representative.
Exactly. So, Mim, what is your fashion story this week?
So my first one, because I have two, but the second one's it's a little
I
long.
have two this week.
So my first one is Adidas has sold Reebok. Yeah, did you see that? Or did I send it to you? I don't know.
You didn't send it. I did see that. That's big.
Yeah. So the idea is that they want to focus on their main brand, and so that's why they're letting go of Reebok. But supposedly Reebok's done quite well over the past year. It's brought in like 10. It's sold worth of 10 billion worth of product. But the only thing is they've actually sold it less than what they bought for it in 2005.
It's so cheeky.
They're selling it for I can't remember. It's like 2 point something billion, which is more than what people thought they were going to get for it. But maybe they just thought like this is not a loss because we've already made money on it so far. I don't know.
You know what? I've got a soft spot for Reebok. I do actually own 2 trainers from Reebok.
Mm-hmm.
One pair of trainers I actually bought in the last month. Really dig them. They're a bit funky. They're a bit like different to their other ones. I think it was like a collaboration they did.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have one other pair. I have a real soft spot for Reebok. It really, like, other than Adidas, is very much the 90s for me, and like encapsulated in a brand. And I don't think it gets a fair shot. Like, Adidas is really, by the way, guys, I definitely don't think I say Nike or Adidas the right way. Like, I know there's Adidas or Nike, sue me. But Reebok, I feel like doesn't get a fair share at the sports like platform. Like for a while, Nike was quite a front runner and kind of the most premium.
Yeah.
But Adidas is getting there. Like I would say they're becoming a parallel. We've now had like Under Armour come in, that kind of thing. But I think Reebok doesn't get its fair go at things.
Yeah. So they attributed their recent success to things like collaborations, which is what you mentioned. And they've been like tapping into their archive of designs. So that's why you say like it reminds you of the 90s is because they're pulling out designs from like their past eras, you know, big eras and big successes. And so, yeah, you're right. Like, I do really like Reebok as well, but it's not talked about in the same way that Jordans are, or like...
I couldn't tell you a name of their shoe.
Oh, neither could I. But it's like Fila. You know that point where all these other like smaller, not smaller brands, but more like retro brands were coming back. We had like the Stan Smith Adidas is like making a revival, and then we had like Fila, I feel like we're trying to come back. Champion came.
Yeah, and Champion had a rise.
Champion came back too expensive though. I'm sorry, Champion. Like, this is the thing with Nike, is that they have really great designs, but Nike's not that expensive.
Yeah,
like, you can get lots of affordable stuff, but Champion was taking the piss. So anyway, there was a period of time where all these kind of older sports brands were trying to make their mark and capitalize on this whole like retro vibe everyone was trying to buy into.
Yeah. So I wonder what we're going to see next from Reebok.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully sort of a postcard being like, sad to see you go type of vibe. Or I'm doing better on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. My next fashion story is, okay, it's probably like a Croc alert, to be honest. It's
here we go. How many times can we mention Crocs? Sponsor us, please.
I've got my eye on a new pair of Crocs. And
are these in-house Crocs or outside Crocs?
Oh, I don't think I have the stomach to be wearing Crocs outdoors, if I'm honest. Talk a big game, but I don't think I can do it. So
if your sister's listening,
I think she wore hers out today. Anyway, shameful. So it's this new collaboration is by a really kind of big shoe designer in the world of trainers, and his name is Saleh Bembry, and he was the designer for like Versace's range of like trainers recently. You know, they've kind of everyone and their dog has gone into like sneakers and whatnot,
of course.
And so he was designing for them and like loads of other brands as well. And so his Croc doesn't resemble the typical shape of Crocs. It's like, I think his like motif is like a fingerprint. So this kind of has these ridges that go around the shoe that resembles a fingerprint, like, you know, like a fingerprint.
I like that.
It's like rigid, and yeah, got my eye on those guys. So if you're a Crocs lover, keep your eye out for those. But I was reading a Business of Fashion article that was talking about like the success of Crocs and like how it's like here to stay. And I was like, yeah, if you think about it, Bottega Veneta's tried to do their own like rubberized shoe clog thing. Like Crocs has had like a massive following, particularly with like Gen Z and like young millennials.
They've been featuring on Love Island.
Yeah, they're on Love Island. They have like, countless collaborations.
I think Drew, like Justin Bieber's Drew's done a collab with them, or like done their own, like, you know.
They did.
And then all these badges or whatever they're called put on them. I think they've had a real surge.
Especially over the past like year and a half of like everyone being at home.
And collab, like making it in our face, you know.
For sure. So anyway, those are my fashion stories. What are yours?
Well, I have two. So one I have for you is like following on from our episode last week about sort of celeb lines. One of the influencers that I follow, Lydia Millen, who I sort of started following recently because she came out about just struggling a bit during lockdown and the pressures of being an influencer, was quite open about needing like soliciting a life coach and how that helped her become happier and more positive and helped her handle life. And I think it's just nice to hear that like life gets us all, you know. It's not whoever you are, it gets to us at points. So I quite liked that and sort of liked what she was putting out with that. And I was watching one of her videos the other day, and she has recently done a few collaborations with Karen Millen.
Yeah, I was going to say she's been doing that.
She's got another one coming, and apparently her last one was their best retail day in history of the company.
What? Seriously?
That is the power of quote unquote celebrity influencer.
Karen Millen's been around for a while.
But you know what? She probably introduces people who wouldn't necessarily shop there to the brand. And I thought that's a really impressive milestone to have with like you said, the likes of Karen Millen. That's a pretty stable, reliable, like premium high street brand. I thought that was a real testament to like our conversation last week.
And it's interesting as well because Lydia Millen, although I know who she is, she's not someone I follow. Yeah. She's not the biggest. She's not the most interesting, like when it comes to style, I mean, she's not like the biggest, loudest dresser out there. And I've seen her Karen Millen collection because I used to get their emails, and I thought nice, but nothing completely out of the ordinary for what Karen Millen normally does. So I'm shocked that literally, I don't know if she designed any of this or she was part of the design.
The way process. I would describe it, because I was thinking about this earlier of like how to word it.
Okay.
Is that I believe she gave the creative like direction. So she sort of probably gave her ideas and the design team went away and she oversaw the creativity or like the output.
Yeah. Like, I like the color beige.
Because like, also,
yes, beige.
Let's give credit to the designers here. She's not one. And she might have gone, I want a floral print, and they design one and she picks one of the designs. But ultimately, it's the designers who've done it, you know?
Yeah, of
she's
course.
Not sat there sketching all day.
No. I didn't mean to suggest that at all.
No, but like it's a really tricky one of like, I don't want to put her down because for sure she's probably put a lot of hard work in too.
But I mean, I think, and now I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this is the case. Back to our old friends, Boohoo and all of them lot and Pretty Little Thing. They've had a lot of collaborations. They're so good at advertising and all these
In the Style has a collaboration each month.
Yeah. And they're so good at that and bringing people who just like get the vibe of the brand and who are like exactly the demographic of their customer base. So like kudos to them. But I always thought that they just had like a warehouse full of designs already, and then like the likes of Molly May comes along and says I like that stuff they already have for sale, or let's say they took it off the website for a couple months and now it's coming back on the website as a Molly May collaboration, when really it's more like an edit, you know. It's a Molly May edit as opposed to a collaboration.
Yeah, I think that's definitely true of those types of websites, because actually they buy all of their designs that way. They might have a design team that does stuff, but for the most part, they sort of buy their designs off of like these big factories who process dresses. That's why we see similar shapes. You often can see a fabric in like a Topshop, but also in a Zara. Like, you know, they don't buy that fabric for themselves. You can see it in multiple places. So I would like to hope that Karen Millen, because it's a more premium price tag, is a bit more.
But aren't they owned by the likes of Boohoo now?
Probably, but like I still think they should have a better process. But then also ultimately, the difference is like, say when I work in design, a designer gives me like the head of design gives me what I'm meant to design, gives me the inspiration, but ultimately you're the ones like sketching your version of that, and they eventually choose one with their edits, of course. So like it's the design element of stuff is very hickledy-pickledy. But yeah, I was astounded that she was there, like their best day on record.
Yeah. That's insane.
It's just the power of stuff. And what wasn't it that Rihanna's perfume the other day as well? just after we released the
like
episode.
it sold out like straight away or something
instantly.
Like that.
Probably again a bit of like a Kim K thing that no one smells it, but they bought it online.
Yeah. I think that's the case.
Yeah. And so my second fashion story is a question.
Okay.
I actually think I'd really like us to do an episode on swimwear. I think swimwear is a really like big minefield. But I went swimming with my nephew today, and there were numerous swimsuits, maybe 2 or 3 that I thought, I can't wear that because I think if I get that wet, you're going to see like my nipples underneath.
Yeah.
How on earth are we in a world that swimwear does not function as swimwear? Because like for sure, like a boohoo.com will say, do not get this wet.
Seriously,
or not,
do they
not
say
suitable, that? Not suitable for water will often be with like a swimsuit.
Seriously?
Because we live in a Love Island day and age where you pose. You go to a beach club and you pose, and you're not meant to swim or have fun in the water. And I had to choose like I have like 2, I think maybe I have like 5 swimsuits, like all in one swimsuits, one pieces, and 2 of them I can't get wet.
That's insane. That might sound so ignorant like, of me, but I didn't know.
Or that like I haven't tested it, but I don't trust to get them wet.
Oh mate, you know what?
Isn't that crazy?
This oh my god, this made me think. Like I haven't bought swimwear in I could probably say years, in maybe 4 years, solely because I've got enough at the moment, and I don't go on holiday enough to places where I'll swim to justify me buying a new bikini every year, if I'm honest. So I kind of haven't done that in a while. So I haven't even noticed that it says that, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I clocked it maybe like 2 years ago when we were going on holiday for my brother's wedding. And I remember looking at things and I'm like, can't go well, like not suitable for water. I was like, it's swimwear. You called it a swimsuit.
Yeah, I bet those Chanel swimsuits do it the same. I bet you can't. Ooh,
and I think it could be to do with chlorine, that type of thing, or even salt water can be problematic. But it's more for me, it was that I didn't trust that the water wouldn't make it then just sheer.
Yeah.
Like didn't have a double lining on the breast to be like, I'm there with my brother, man. He doesn't need to see my nipple through the whole
thing needs to be double lined. Because there's bits down there.
Because you know what? There's bits down there as well. Not everyone has a Hollywood.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to like buying a bikini or a swimsuit just to pose. You know, it's what holidays are about, isn't it? It's about posing.
It should be suitable for water.
It should be.
I can't even believe we're having this conversation.
Yeah, I know. That is like that's the one thing that makes it.
It's your one job.
You had one job.
Even though I have seen, I can't think where it was now. Maybe it's on like Net-a-Porter. I saw a crochet swimsuit and I thought that would be beautiful on a beach. And I'm sure that can't get wet because crochet and knitwear often like will sag. And so you don't need that like saggy crotch vibe. But that was well and clearly like a posery. But I just think maybe you just can't call it swimwear. Then that is a triangle bra, you know.
That's a bodysuit, isn't it?
Yeah.
No. Well, yeah, we should definitely do an episode
to be
on
continued.
That. Yeah.
Okay, let's play the jingle.
It's our island fashion alert. So very much following on what we've just talking about or spoken about regarding swimwear, bikinis, whatever. Love Island, I was having a bit of a think, and I was like, Love Island essentially, when we talk about Love Island fashion, it's like holiday wear, isn't it? It's holiday fashions, holiday looks. And I thought, let me do a bit of digging and see how much the British public like to spend on their holiday wardrobe each year. And I have to admit, I thought the results were going to be worse.
I thought it'd be quite high,
So yeah, disclaimer, I didn't find a lot of sources that really touched on how much we spend as a nation, like on our holiday wear, clothing wise. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I'm not sure. But there was this one website and it's called Silk Thread. And they conducted a survey of 2,000 people in the UK. And the city that spends the most on like brand new items for their holiday is, go on, do you want to guess?
Manchester.
No.
It's London.
No, it's Oxford.
What?
Yeah, on average, amongst the people they surveyed, they spend £160 for new clothes on their holiday.
Wow. That's a lot.
It's a lot, but you know what? I thought that was going to be. I thought that was going to be the norm. I thought that would be like the country's average.
So yeah, I thought like I'd guesstimate like a 150 country, maybe not country,
southeast at least,
south average. Just because if you get one or two swimsuits, maybe a beach bag, a hat, a few dresses, that's not a lot.
It's not a lot of
that
stuff.
adds up real fast. Even at Zara, even at New Look, like you're adding on quick.
I mean, a bikini easily £30. Get two of those, £60.
You have to buy them separate these days. Even though I will say, and I will save it properly for the swimwear episode. Very glad about that. I'm not the same on the top as I am on the bottom.
Okay. Oh, so you have to go and mix and matches. Yeah.
Which like I used to have to like it, but before like it was properly a thing to do them separate. I used to have to try and swap the tops and the bottom. Like,
oh yeah. Then okay, so between Manchester, Cardiff, and London, people spend on average £64 to about £66 on new items for their holiday.
That's not much.
It's not, but then when you think about in the world of Pretty Little Thing, and also tip, always buy your summer stuff in the winter sale because that's when they're going cheap. You can get some bits that are quite cheap and cheerful and holiday ready, but again, it's not that much money. It's literally like one item at River Island. We are
comparing this to Love Island. They've never worn whatever they're wearing before. Like this is all probably gifted by like new stuff. Like they're wearing a new dress every night.
Yeah.
And granted, that's not what you have to like, because a holiday wardrobe, you build it up so you can wear dresses from last year and stuff like that. But trends, I think holiday wear is almost where I'm take more of a trend-based dive.
Do you mean you take more of a risk?
Yeah, I would take more of a risk with that and maybe buy like something a bit more like out of my comfort zone, but also a bit more like, oh, that's on trend right now than for my everyday wear.
Why is that?
Because I think you just think you can be anyone on hot. I don't know. I think you like with a tan, whatever. You're just like, I'll wear like a cut out dress. Or like, I think you have more confidence to like, because you're not wearing as many clothes or whatever it might be. I think you just take more risks.
Also, you can wear stuff in the heat that you just cannot wear in the cold.
In the UK.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Because even when the weather's nice, it might not be in an hour. And also by the evening, you need a jacket, you need a coat, whatever. But on holiday, you can often obviously leave without needing an extra layer or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. And another reason why I thought this would be a lot higher, these figures would be a lot higher than what they're claiming to be, is when you go on holiday, you don't just need like your day wear, like the shorts and the t-shirts or like the crop tops and whatnot. You need the evening wear. Because everyone needs to go away with a banging like cocktail dress.
Yeah.
And like heels or something. And like, yeah, I'm just not convinced. I don't think that this is the most reliable.
I definitely would spend more than £60 on stuff if I was going on holiday.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Yeah.
£60 gets you nothing these days, you know.
It also came up with some other shocking statistics to come out of their survey. One is that men are twice as likely as women to dress up for an Instagram post.
Oh,
what they said. Now, I don't know if it's the nuance of like women are going to dress up throughout the holiday. Yeah.
Maybe.
And men are, because they don't try so hard on any given day, like they need to be looking good for the boys back at home when they
imagine so.
Picture.
Because I imagine the villa's a perfect example of that. That girls do like to get dressed. Like, I like to get dressed up and I might not go anywhere. And every now and then, like, I just like getting dressed up or play with my makeup. Like, it depends on my mood. Whereas, like, I think a guy wouldn't do that. No guy would sit in his home in like his best shirt and trousers for no reason. Whereas for sure, I would get like dressed up. Maybe not wearing like an amazing dress, but like I dress sometimes to feel nice because genuinely I wear makeup and I get ready for myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that actually is probably a really good example that like blokes don't.
Yeah. So yeah, I need some more information on that, but that's what I thought it'd be. Two other bits. This was a shocker to me, and I do not recommend anyone does this, but they said 40% of those people surveyed do not bring spare underwear on holiday. Who do you think you are?
I'm definitely someone that, like, if I'm going somewhere for a weekend, I've got like 10 pairs of knickers in my bag.
Yeah, I know.
And like, it's the meme of like, oh, why'd you pack so many pair of pants? You're not like, you never shit yourself normally.
You're not going to piss yourself every day.
Yeah. But like, you just don't know what pair of pants you might need. And I know guys don't maybe have that dilemma.
Mm-hmm.
Just bring some spare pants, dude.
But also, like, when you go, you might shower in the morning, then you might go to the pool during the day, and you're going out in the evening, so you need to shower again.
And some men wear like some men choose to wear boxer shorts under their swimming shorts for like extra security. You cannot be wearing those shorts to dinner.
Squelching on the sea. I just think I need. You don't know what outfit you're going to wear.
Surely the rule is anytime you shower, you put a new pair of pants on.
Well, I hope so. And then
do we need to do a podcast on hygiene, guys?
And then half of people will buy 6 or more new items for their holiday, which don't add up to me, because if they're saying they're spending £60, where you getting
cream is more than £10.
I know.
Those travel shampoo. Okay, clothing.
The clothing, yeah, not toiletries.
Well, unless you're buying vests or Primark swimsuits, which no qualms to Primark, but their prices aren't as cheap as they used to be.
It must be Primark stuff that everyone's buying their bits from,
because that's averaging out at £10. I don't know many places you can buy stuff for like 10 quid.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my semi-Love Island wrap-up, more to do with holiday fashion. But I mean, like, come on. Like, it's all relates, doesn't it? Because
it all relates. And also, there's not much to write home about with Love Island fashion that we haven't already touched on. We did see another feature of the dark lipstick from Faye this week.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's her power lipstick. I stand by that. I think
I think you're right.
But it was I think it was maybe my brother who sent me a message saying someone surely needs to tell her that like the wet hair and the brown lipstick's not a look right. Like, Because what has she come as?
You know what?
Like,
Mr. Big talks about
fashion, right?
Yeah.
But like,
it wasn't for her. It's not for her because Mr. Big picked up on that, and I had to explain, like, on some people it looks really good.
Yeah.
This is just not the day that it looks good.
And I think paired with the brown lip liner that overdraws the lips that are already plumped.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, you need quite a natural, probably, like,
you're
meant to look like you just got out of water.
Or you do like a bright eyeshadow, like, you know, they do those like those swashes of color with the slick hair, and then you're like, oh, that's high fashion, babe. But not.
And I will say I'm still enjoying Kaz's eyeshadow coordination.
Mm-hmm.
And really digging that. I'd be really interested to know, like, if there's a certain eyeshadow palette that she's been using for that. I would.
Okay. Great.
But yeah, other than that, yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. But what isn't is 1970s fashion.
We interrupt this broadcast to remind you, go follow us on Instagram, Style Over Substance Pod. Shoot us an email, styleoversubstancepeak@gmail.com. Find us on YouTube, find us on Twitter. We've got all the links on our Instagram. You know what to do.
That is our topic for today. We're discussing decade fashion again, and we've chosen the 1970s because
it's iconic.
What more could you want?
It's iconic. What is so great about like 1970s, I think, is you had this duality of hobo, like it's really casual, which everyone, you know, we talk about in the past, people used to dress up more on a day-to-day basis. We had like this youth subculture of hippiness, smoking weed, flared jeans,
like going against the grain.
Yeah, casual and just like in the field with flowers in your hair. But you also had glam, like glam that we are beginning to see today. Like there are trends.
Power suit.
Yeah. Like when we talk about, what's her name? Jagger.
Yeah, Bianca Jagger
in the classic YSL white suit. And loads of trends that we're enjoying again today, because it's just like, who doesn't like 70s glam?
Absolutely. Because I think the beginning of 60s glam or 60s sort of like fashion was very much aimed at young people. Do you know what? Like, it was very, like, all the pictures I see of like 60s fashion are young people. It's teenagers, like the Twiggy-esque. It's teenagers, it's young people, it's under 30s. That is like what sort of started the 70s trend.
Unless you're talking about like Motown fashion, where it was like on the stage performances and things, yeah.
But I think then like the 70s brought it to like all ages, where like the print, it was just like a time for like print just to have its moment. The casuality of stuff, we definitely saw a lot of co-ords. I just think people played with fashion in just such a fantastic way. And I just think that so much of that rings true to today, like you said. Like, it's just it you can see it in corners of Topshop, Zara, ASOS, whatever. Yeah, like that style lives on.
So we should probably go through some of the trends that kind of defined the 70s. So of course we'll start with tie-dye. What's your thoughts on tie-dye? Because tie-dye had a big moment in 2020.
Had a renaissance. Yeah. You know what? I really like tie-dye when it's done right. I think it got a bit overkill in 2020, I will admit. Yes, I don't mind if you had an at-home kit. I don't like that, doesn't bother me, but I don't need it on every piece of clothing. Like, I think it got thrown at, so they threw the kitchen sink at it.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
I personally prefer it in sort of more of an athleisure vibe. I prefer it on my t-shirts. I don't mind a tie-dye tracksuit.
Yeah.
That's where it sits for me, is more in a like low-key kind of way. Like, I'd happily have 10 tie-dye hoodies, that kind of thing. Do I need trousers that are tie-dye? Probably not. Maybe a silk dress, maybe, but I'd be more particular about the tie-dye.
Yeah. I think it's an inherently casual thing.
Yeah, for me, it's casual, because for me, it's homemade. And that is a big theme of the 70s, was incorporating this sort of homemade, very casual, the crochet, bohemian vibe, the hippiness. So that's probably why I think tie-dye sits there.
Yeah. So we also had crochet, as you mentioned, which goes with that. We had bell bottoms.
Love
which
bell bottoms.
I remember wearing bell bottoms as like a kid.
In the 90s, for sure.
We have bell sleeves. This comes more into like the glam evening. Silk shirts, bell sleeves, crop tops and skirts, which we've seen a lot of coming back. A lot of crop tops, and color blocking is a really big one, especially comes with, as I said, the glam side of the 70s. And I think if you, in the 70s, it was defined as a hippie. If you now use the word bohemian or boho style, that is essentially the 70s hippie. You know, it's the peasant blouses, it's those like smock-esque dresses, it's sort of anything that's embroidered or got those sort of cutouts, or what looks like it could be crochet, or anything sort of hand done, artisanal almost. And
actually, like, that style has followed through. I remember bohemian styles in the 90s, the noughties, I don't even know what the 2010s are called. And now, like, that rings true. Like, think of Sienna Miller and like her bohemian-esque style. Serena van der Woodsen used to be sort of like bohemian a bit in Gossip Girl. Like,
for me, bohemian is synonymous with summer to an extent. It comes around every summer, and it's like an easy look. It doesn't require as much detail as well, or much attention to detail, we should say.
It almost doesn't want a full face of makeup. You know, it's almost like a throw on, tie your hair up, or like you're not fully done, essentially, often with this hippie boho look. And that was huge. Like the 60s, like, let's remember the Beatles in those Pierre Cardin suits, very tailored, and even with girls with the mini skirts. I'm sure at some point we will do 60s, but like, transition that to the 70s and you just suddenly really relaxed. Really different.
And even when I think the word relaxed is a good word, because you had like bohemian relaxed on one side, and even when you look at really glam fashion, the fabrics were floaty. The whole
jersey,
they were like silky, floaty, like halter-necks. They were suits which were like tailored, but they were like wide leg for women.
Like the bell bottom or wide leg, not so fitted, and trousers for women again. Like, that wasn't in the 60s, was the mini skirt. Like, it was all about dresses, and suddenly, bam, 70s, we have the bell bottoms, wide leg, flare.
Very cool.
And for men too, for the same silhouette, was really interesting. Really interesting.
Oh, and definitely like men wearing boots, which like were high heels, essentially. Like, let's not forget.
Questionably quite feminine clothing. think of like, I think the Rolling Stones, and I think Mick Jagger and Mick and Bianca were like two of the biggest fashion icons of the 70s. I wouldn't mind betting he borrowed some of her clothing to wear on stage.
Yeah.
It was like pushing the boundaries, and it was sort of it was the start of that 80s, like probably the New Romantics, like all of that, like just experimenting, and like it was a really free time. I just think it was, it was just, there weren't many boundaries for the first time in fashion. And we didn't see many designers do that, but a few designers sort of embraced that and were brave and bold. And I think that's really exciting.
So designers that were big in the 70s, let's go through some of them. The first one I have on my list is very much a British brand, which was massive. I think they now in Debenhams, but they have like a little kind of corner of Debenhams, and it's like, if you know, you know. And that's Bieber. So that was quite a influential British brand at the time.
So my friend, our school friend Faith, her mum has like some Bieber stuff, like a Bieber bag and stuff like that. And it's huge. You can get it a lot in vintage shops. You can still find it there. And it's a real moment in the 70s for sure. Yeah.
Then we have Diane Von Furstenberg, who came out with the wrap dress. That was a phenomenon in itself.
Yeah.
Again, a comfortable dress that could be worn at work casually, comes in lots of different fabrics and designs and prints, and that's what she's known for. But still quite like relaxed and still sexy, you know?
Shows off your body if you want to, you know?
Yeah.
You can open and close as much as you want.
Of course, we had Yves Saint Laurent.
Huge moment for YSL in the 70s. Quite controversially at times. They really embraced the changing fashions.
Yeah, and even to this day, we've spoken about in past episodes, YSL still cling on to the same styling and fashion that himself, Yves, had introduced in the 70s, you know, the pussy bow blouses,
rock and roll,
the glam rock and roll, the suits, the black and white, you know. Yeah, we still see the same stuff today. Then we've got a designer called Stephen Burrows, who was an American designer who was popular for color blocking. And that we see everywhere still. I mean, yeah,
huge at the moment.
Yep. Emilio Pucci, gotta love Emilio Pucci print.
The print,
yeah.
I also think of JLo when I think of that.
Do you? Why?
I think just because she it's a bit like the Versace dress print probably, but like I just think she loved to print, didn't she, when she was a singer? Yeah.
I think the early, like the 2000s and early 2010s, we were still on that like
it's
bright
circle-esque, bright.
We have Ottavio Missoni, so the whole Missoni family with their crochet,
absolutely
multicolored knitwear, and they, you know what,
headpieces.
When it
turbans.
Comes to swimwear that you might not be able to wear in the water,
I'll happily have a Missoni not waterproof bathing suit for sure.
Yeah, loads of caftans and all of that.
I would love a Missoni swimsuit, or if not, just like a headband, or a head wrap or something.
And they're still going strong.
You know what? We should for sure do an episode on Missoni.
Yeah,
how on earth has a brand just made a zigzag that sensational?
But and also it's like it's not just him, it's the whole family now. It's like the whole Missoni clan. It's like Fendi in a way.
Yeah.
Then we've got Holston, who popularized that Studio 54 like club glamour silks, and like
much glam.
Yeah, he became known for the halter neck dress, which was very big,
huge, like changed a big game.
Yeah. And he has there's actually a Netflix series on at the moment which documents his life, and he was quite known for being quite influential when it came to like the fashion of business. So I believe he was one of the first to license his name, and so that's where you get like licensed products from. And but he sold his business, and I think like literally within 10 years like his business was worth like a ton more. So it sucks to be him, but yeah, Holston. Vivienne Westwood. Yeah, very often like we talk about Vivienne Westwood in the realm of punk, rightly so. But she started in like her trajectory to being who she is today began in the 70s.
Just love it.
Yeah. And then another one I have, which is kind of like a cult classic, and that is the American designer Bob Mackey. Now, if you know anything about Cher and like Tina Turner,
which we do in this podcast,
then rhinestones, glitter, what is it, like that mesh, that skin colored mesh, yeah, and like skin tight clothing where you've got beads which are like strategically placed so that nothing.
That mesh bodysuit type.
Mesh bodysuits. Go and Google Bob Mackey if you're not familiar. Incredible stage and like gala Oscars type clothing. Amazing.
Yeah, and I think you've really embodied there how diverse the 70s were, where you had that like really casual bohemian 70s vibe, but then on the total other end we had some really like pivotal red carpet glamour moments, like you said, with the halter neck and very much like sequins, bedazzling, all of that kind of a thing that like we hadn't seen maybe since the 30s. And just this like real spectrum that I really think is why I really associate the 70s till this current day, is that we just still have this huge spectrum now. And I've said it before that I kind of almost don't believe in a trend being a thing anymore. And I think the 70s was the start of that. I think the 70s you could be who you wanted to be. Music for sure dictated still a lot of style in like 60s, 70s, 80s, even 90s when we discussed that episode. But I think it was also just the start of just like diversifying how you dressed. Yeah. And I just think that's huge.
I think that came with a lot of societal change as well. I believe that the pill came out during the 70s.
Yeah, and it was sexual revolution.
Yeah, and there was more women working in the office, working 9 to 5. You know, shout out to Dolly.
We need to do an episode on Dolly.
Yeah. And so that coincided with, also we had things like the Vietnam War, where people like protesting and making their voices heard, and so there was a lot of stuff going on in society. And I think that the bohemian style was a rejection of very traditional or very rigid lifestyles, kind of saying, I don't want any part of like what I'm expected to be. Then adopting a more like bohemian lifestyle was one way of like rejecting all those social norms that you saw in the 60s. Because frankly, in the 60s, you know, men had to be a certain way and women had to be a certain way, and you know, the family unit was in a certain way, and it was a lot more rigid for people. So I think you're right in that people could start to test the way in which they wanted to live their lives and the way they wanted to dress. And as you said, like certain aspects of men's fashion became feminized, let's say, and certain aspects of women's fashion became masculinized. And then you had like really sexy fashion of like Studio 54 and like Bob Mackey and things like that. So I agree with that statement.
I think it was the beginning of fluidity. I think that was aided by potentially like the drug scene of just it becoming more like synonymous or just more easygoing. Like I think in the 60s it was probably like a more of a you were in the crowd or whatever. But I also think, correct me if I'm wrong, that was like the introduction to like some Bob Marley music and that kind of a thing. And I just think that like it was just more of an open-minded world from the 60s. I think like it for sure just became this sort of like open, broadening horizons and that kind of a thing. That I think was important, and that was truly reflected in the clothing, that there are more occasions than just a woman sitting at home with her kid, but also like men too, that like, why does he have to wear a shirt and a tie? Why can't he wear a blouse if he wants to, or wear this or that? Like the lines are blurry and they should be.
So what's one of your favorite things to come out of 1970s fashion?
So I remember at work we once did sort of like a 70s theme, and I remember researching this, and I will say it's almost like the 70s Vogue shoots, this very like loud or like just a lot, it was a lot of clothing. They would often have like a two-piece sort of, whether it was a cord or a suit, and then maybe like a poncho that matched.
Oh, the poncho.
You know what I mean? Like it was, there was like a cape, or there was something that like brought the look together.
It's true.
And it just like, and that's where I'm thinking like Pucci and all of that stuff of just like this print phenomenon. That's what I think of it, these very graphic, very arty Vogue covers. And you just think of the likes of like a Jerry Hall, Bianca Jagger in their very chic suits, and just becoming really like, and Janice Dickinson was like a top model of the time.
It's batshit crazy.
Be to Janice. None of us really thought her modeling career was real, but it was.
Oh God. So would you say that those suits is something that you would have part of your own style or wardrobe, or do you think that's something that's influenced your own style?
For sure. I actually think like the co-ord-esque thing, you know, I'm dig a co-ord. I've really come around to that, because also I think beforehand it was just sort of like a co-ord used to almost be like a top and a skirt, and now we've really come back to sort of the 70s thing. And actually even in the latest Zara collection, they have like this polka dot suit that I have my eye on. Love it. I love it. I love a polka dot. That is for me. It's quite pricey, but I think I might get it. And it's a flared trouser, like a tapered sort of like, did I say flower?
Flared, you mean?
I think I said a flared flower. A flared trouser, if I said flower. Or like a bootleg type cut. And I definitely think that influences my style. I think I have very much this sort of like, I don't know. I think it's more the fact that like in the 70s, one day you could be bohemian, the next you could wear a suit, the next you could wear a glittery Holston neck dress. And I definitely identify with the fact that I don't dress like the same character every day. What's your sort of favourite takeaway from the 70s?
It would have to be like a blazer, like a tailored blazer. I love. And like a trouser, definitely a trouser suit. And I love the sequins, as I said, of like Cher's most iconic looks, because I've said this before, I love overtly glamorous things.
For sure.
And that for me is just like, that's what fashion's about, isn't it? It's about wearing a fantasy. And then also just like I don't know. It's very, when you think of like cliche Vogue, you think of power suits in the 80s, and you think of like power dressing of the 70s as well. Those are like iconic Vogue eras. So yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you after your mention of the pantsuit. Would you wear a skirt suit?
I
don't think I would.
I don't think I identify with that. I think I would, but it depends on the skirt length, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I actually have a skirt suit that I've mentioned literally right at the beginning of this podcast that I still haven't worn. It needs to be dry cleaned and everything, but I need an occasion to wear it. It's not something I'm just wearing like any day.
Would you wear it to the office?
No. This is
better than that.
Yeah, it is. This was the one, I've mentioned this to you before. It's the vintage Dior suit that I have.
Is this your mum's, or that you found with your mum?
She found it. Yeah, bought it. She sourced it essentially on eBay, and I paid for it. Skirt suits are a weird one, aren't they?
I think I'd find it harder to find the correct skirt suit than I would trouser suit.
It's
but
all
that
about
also
skirt
could be trend driven because it's very in style currently. But it's skirt length because you have to have a certain skirt length for the office.
I think with a mini skirt. Yeah.
Oh, but then you can't kind of wear that to the office as much, you know?
Well, the thing is, if I put on a thick denier pair of tights, I'm short, so it really doesn't matter so much. But you're like long and leggy.
No,
so if you wear a mini skirt,
I'm a big believer that heavy denier tights fix all problems when it comes to skirt length.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So is there an element of the 70s you incorporate, you think, to this current day?
Oh, definitely. I like silky things. I like a silk headscarf, which I have on at the moment. That is definitely something that everyone was rocking in the 70s. And blazers, like blazers for women, you know, blazers made for women. Yeah, those are the things that I take away. So what's going to be our poll for this week? What part of 70s fashions like influenced you and you still wear today and still appreciate? No, that's pretty much it, I think.
We're just trying to stay alive, stay alive.
I mean, don't get us wrong. There was a lot of dodgy, like.
Oh, I love a flare suit. I love all of that. I actually think, you know what? I don't like boot cut trousers as much on men, but I think on women, it's style.
That's true.
I think the tricky thing with men is you've got to be really slim.
I mean, men used to wear like those cummerbunds with their suit. Yeah, I mean with the silk frilly shirt in the baby pinks and the like baby blues.
Maybe we should also have an episode on men's like formal wear because I have some strong opinions on that.
I'm in like pitch black.
I know. You just suddenly that happened literally the same for like 3 minutes.
It's not even that dark in this room. I just don't have the light on. Anyway, yeah. Okay, so we're going to put that poll on our Instagram. So respond with your answers, and we'll post all the responses as well. But yeah, that's it from us. Thanks for listening for another week, guys. I've been Mim.
And I've been Scarlett.
See you next week. Bye.
Bye.